is Ashley Hammond, and I'm the Managing Director for Educational Theater Company, or ETC. And I'm so excited for you to come tonight to see our lovely actors and their performance. This is called Devising Hope, and is a project that is near and dear to our hearts. We have a lot of nonprofits and organizations who have partnered with us to pull this off. So I do want to spend a little time just telling you a little bit about the program so you know what we did, as well as hearing who we've been partnering with. So I'll have you come stand up in just a second. But this program has been around since 2015, but the past couple years, we have decided to have a different lens on this program and to focus it on racial inequities. So ETC does programming for 3 to 103, and that's really true. And we take the programming out into the community. We take the arts to the community, and we meet people where they are, and we tell their stories, right? So we want to hear them make up their own lines. We want to hear their stories or their experiences, and we turn it into a theater piece. And we do that with all different ages. So this Devising Hope program is literally taking stories from these participants and devising it into a script. Okay? Now, ETC is also in the community. We have a lot of other programming too, after school classes, camps. We also do programming for senior citizens called Creative Age. If you want more information about our company, there are some flyers out there. We are also looking for more partners for this program. Now that this one has finished, we want other companies, other organizations to participate in another Devising Hope like this, to learn about racial inequities in Arlington. We are also looking for sponsors. So if you work for a company or organization that might want to sponsor a program like this, we would love to talk to you. So there's more information out there. We have a lot of people in ETC shirts. So anyone sitting in the audience with an ETC shirt can answer any questions. We have board members here, Stan King, our executive director, and Katie McCreary is here too. So lots of people to answer questions for you. But I also wanted to tell you that several years ago, I made the coolest connection. I found out about a nonprofit that was doing amazing work in the community, and I wanted to learn more. And now, I can't get enough of this organization. They're called Challenging Racism. And I've made friends. I've learned a lot. They're doing programming very similar to ours, making conversations accessible in the community. But let me turn it over now to Margot, who's going to speak a little bit about Challenging
Racism. I'm new to Challenging Racism, but I've had the honor of working with Challenging Racism as it has introduced itself and its ideas to every employee of the Arlington Department of Human Services, bringing them all together out of their silos to examine systemic racism, then the way racism shows up in dealing with each other and with clients, and finally learning some skills, which we practice, on deep listening, apologies, paying close attention. It is a wonderful organization, and we think that maybe the next group we ought to talk to are on Capitol Hill. But they haven't given us the contract. But anyway, Challenging Racism, has been around for 20 years. Racism, as we know, has been around for a lot longer. But we're working on it. And Arlington is a wonderful place to begin to get that word out and get those skills, because we are right across the river from you know what. Anyway.
Thank you. All right, so another organization that we are partnering with today is Our Stomping Ground. So these, some of the residents here are all from Gilliam Place, which is right next door, right? And Our Stomping Ground has had a partnership with them for a long time, yes? Long time? So I'd like to introduce Margot Greenlee, who's going to talk to you about Our Stomping Ground.
Yeah, 2 Margos. This is
I know, isn't that funny?
Welcome everyone. It's so wonderful to be here for the final performance. I've been hearing fantastic things about the rehearsal process, and I just love it when we can take the reality of our lives and turn it into art, because it just sends us to a very different, analytical and creative and connective place. So I'm just so grateful to all of you for helping us be a part of this. And Our Stomping Ground, if you don't know us already, We help people with developmental disabilities understand what their options are inside of affordable housing. And then once people move in, we have all sorts of great programming, like an event like this, or hey, let's go on a walk, or here's yoga class, or we're going to meet up for dinner at the local food court, so that when people move in, they're not moving into an empty box. They're moving into a neighborhood of really connected, fellow dwellers. So this is such an amazing way to have more residents get to know each other, and it's so great that we can all lean on each other tonight. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. All right. There are a few thank yous that we have to make. So I have to look at my list because it's a lot. So I just wanted to give a shout. She doesn't know I'm going to do this, but a shout out to Donna Budway, who is also with our Southern trying to hide over there. But Donna is the Director of Partnerships and Advocacy for our Stomping Ground and has been so influential on getting this program going. If you want to know somebody that doesn't stop, that is seriously, you have so much energy, I don't know how you do it. But she has rounded up residents. She's texting them, reminding them to come down for our sessions. She's letting me in the door. She's working with the church to let us in here. So she has really been instrumental in all of the logistical side of this, so I just wanted to give her a shout out. So thank you. Arlington Presbyterian Church is also a partner. They've been so nice to let us use their space here. If you don't know about them, please look at some information that's out there. It's a fantastic story on how Gilliam Place became Gilliam Place and how they donated their land as a church to have the housing here on this land. So super cool that they did this. There's more information about that story. So shout out to Arlington Presbyterian Church. I told you they're hot, right? And then True Crown Housing, thank you. They're the ones that oversee Gilliam Place and the residents here. So thank you for coming out and supporting us and for letting us use space next door for our rehearsals and things. And then I just also wanted to say that ETC is so lucky. I could have said this at the beginning, but we have been getting funding for this program. The Arlington Commission for the Arts has funded this program, and we are so lucky. Cultural Affairs actually donated us money to make this program happen. We've done this twice now. So we've been so proud to receive that funding from the county and being able to use it in places like this and to bring the arts to the community. And I just want to give a shout out to Adam Green, who's here in the front row too. He's the chair, and he's also like our representative too. So thank you for your support for coming out. So thank you to Arlington County for making this happen. I think that's it. The only thing that I just want to tell you about too, the last thing, I know I'll stop talking and let them talk, but the course of the program, we have been meeting for the past 6 weeks or so, off and on. We started out having 4 different sessions where our participants all came and started to share stories. And we kind of laughed a little bit, Bo and I laughed because, like, are they going to start talking right away? Right? Are they going to really open up? Man, they did. You all did, didn't you? Yeah, they were not hesitant at all. They decided to start talking from the start. And part of that is due to Monique, right? So, I have potty mouth. But to Monique from Challenging Racism, and Dawn too. So Dawn, they were both helpful in talking about these sensitive topics during our sessions. I would go in and get us doing a little wacky theater games and warming up and using our actors' tools of body, voice, and imagination, which they loved. Once I got you knowing what it was, then you're like, please, can we do more? We want to do more. And then we would transition into telling stories. And sometimes that was a theme that Challenging Racism brought in and discussed, like systematic racism. And sometimes it was about belonging and what it means to belong. And then that would kind of spur the conversation. And then they would just start sharing. So tonight, what you're going to see is a compilation of their stories. I would record them, even though Sebkin didn't know I was recording most of the time. Yeah, I was sneaky. I would record the audio, and then I would go back and transcribe it. And I would pick out pieces of their stories to put into this script that you're going to hear tonight. They are not actors, but they are storytellers, and they have lived these events. So what you're going to hear tonight is going to be super powerful. They are mostly reading each other's stories. Sometimes they're reading their own, but I think there's some power in that too, to hear someone else tell your story. So I did not do much editing at all. These are your words, right? So I'm just so pleased and proud of you all for putting this together. And now I want you to have fun, right? Get that character going, get those storytelling skills going. And I would like to now introduce Devising Hope, and this is the stories that bind us, race, reflection, and resilience.
This is what it means to be part of a community. This is what it's like to belong.
Treating each other with understanding and acceptance.
Extending grace and kindness to each other and to ourselves.
Reciprocity and authenticity.
And expect empathy for one another.
A spirit of inclusion.
Vulnerability.
To be able to trust, to hear stories, to own our mistakes.
Some of these are hard to share, hard to hear, and hard to talk about.
This is hard work.
Perhaps we need to go back to basics again.
These stories are a gift.
This is Devising Hope.
Here at Gilliam Place, I never thought I would be in a room like this. I come and I go. I pleasantly speak to you, and it's because of you, all of you. You speak back to me with a smile, and I appreciate that.
We gotta have friends in this world, right? We gotta, and it shouldn't be based on our colors.
Quickly, the people acknowledge me.
Arlington is a great place to live. Arlington is offering opportunities for people to live here affordably in a very high expensive place. Arlington County needs to make sure they have more communities like Gilliam Place.
You do belong here.
I'm teaching students right now about identity and belonging in Spanish language arts. They don't feel confident about to fit in because they feel there's not enough resources. They don't feel comfortable with the neighborhood in Arlington. I'm telling them that you need to make yourself comfortable whenever, wherever you are, and feel part of any type of culture. I put these pictures of myself where I live, and I said, what do you think? I am? Do I belong? I put New York City, Spain, and Honduras. They said,
You belong in Honduras because you're from here.
wrong.
You belong in Spain because your family and relatives are there and you speak the language.
Wrong.
You belong here in U.S.
Of course I do, but wrong. I belong everywhere I want to go because I own my story, I own my truth, I own my self-esteem. I can remove the labels, rip them up. I know who I am. I'm telling them it doesn't matter how your hair is, your look, your color of your skin, how you smell, how you walk. But if you feel that I'm telling you, you can go anywhere and fit in or make it too. You're going to make that place love you.
Well, they call me special or crazy or special needs. To me, I get along better with autism and special needs kids better than you. I don't know how to explain that, and I really don't care what you think about me. Yeah, I feel like I belong anywhere and everywhere I go.
I don't belong nowhere. I go home, I don't belong there. I come here, I don't belong here. I judge people a lot. I don't know why I feel like a judging. What am I doing here? I should be there. What am I doing in this room right now? I shouldn't be in my bed. I should be in my bed sleeping and taking a rest. I have
So empty, so empty. That's why you feel like you have no life. I just don't know what to say. I feel like I'm in, a psychology room.
I'm not sure if people accept me for who I am.
Yesterday, I was suffering with suicidal. I was struggling back and forth with it, and I just said, I want to go. I can't remember the reason why I should not. Then somebody called me and they said,
You sound like you're in the dumps. What's wrong? I can't read.
I said, I'm invisible. I'm disappearing. I am. You can't see that I'm falling apart. I just get tired of taking all these medicines and it's overwhelming. 27 pills a day? No one here? No one can help me. And as I drive, everything, the whole sky, everything just turns. I keep saying the word pray. I struggled with my prayers yesterday. And then I can't answer the phone. I really can't get out of my bed. I can't eat anything. I woke up today and I went to the pulmonary rehab. I came home later and took off my clothes. And I get a text. And I got happy because someone asked about me. Somebody looked around for me. And that one little text made me get back up and put on my clothes and come down here and show up and participate. It's the little things, You think it means nothing, but that brought me back. Somebody cared about me to text.
I was born and raised in Washington, D.C., Northwest. I'm the youngest out of 4, and I'm the darkest. I never had a sense of belonging. No one in my mom's side of the family is my complexion, and she is married to my dad, who is also my complexion. I used to wonder if I belonged in this family. All were light-skinned, they had freckles and green eyes, and were blonde with all this hair. My brother used to say mean things to me. He used to call me black and told me I belonged in a trash can. I'm serious. And they used to call me ugly. I didn't understand why I was the only one with the dark skin. And then here today, I'm 61 and I'm trying to figure it out. I'm praying, God, did I fail? People say I smile, but I smile to keep from crying. People don't see the tears, and I do cry a lot.
There are fundamental freedoms that we have to be able to sit and talk about. We have to have conversations about race, about ability, about gender, about religion.
I'm a Jew, right? We have a New Year celebration called Rosh Hashanah. And we did this one thing called Lishik.
Tashlich.
Tashik.
Lich.
Tash.
Tashlich.
Baruch Hashem. It's where you go to this body of water and cast out pieces of paper that represent all the bad things that happened last year. Last year I got COVID. I cast that into the river. This is the only religion where I actually belong. A lot of us Jews are actually really, really chill. I do not understand where the hate stems from. The religion is where I feel, yeah, I belong.
When I was a younger adult, I used to hang out in a certain type of club, what they call homosexual, gay clubs. In spite of what I may have been attracted to, I still didn't feel like I belonged. My mother, when she found out, was raised in a Catholic church. She said, well, don't let them make a man out of you.
There are events in life that change your direction of thinking, and you have to find ways in order to support your family, keep on with your career, and keep on with your life. But still, you have so many obstacles that keep you back.
I pray one day I'll buy a house. I've been renting since I'm 22. 50 years old, that's a long time to rent, right? Me as a single parent have always worked. How come I couldn't buy a condo based on my income? I rented this one place for 18 years and got kicked off Section 8 with my rent paid. How?
Finally in the country, the taking systems that are not fair, that are not credible.
Why are human beings too complicated? Sometimes this is suffocating. You wake up again, it's that same story. Deja vu.
Deja vu. There are a lot of stories that people use to divide us from each other. In this country, one of those stories is that we divide each other up by white people and everybody else. And the story that has been told for hundreds of years is that it's white people, people in power, who belong, and the other folks who don't. That's a story that's just in the air in this country.
The system of health and medicine in this country is broken. I lived for 1 year in Spain, and I was never asked.
Do you have insurance? Otherwise, you're not going to get help.
How come we, as the United States, brag about saying we are the most powerful country in the whole world? We don't have something that we can be proud of, especially with health and care. Back when my mom was a citizen, rest in peace, she didn't have the opportunity to apply for Obamacare either. For Medicare, nothing. Then her cancer built up and she passed away. It's okay, I mean, she's resting, she's fine, she's having a great time wherever she is. Many of us, regardless of your status, economic style, and social life, they will treat you really bad in the hospital. I was in the hospital for 4 days. I had a kidney transplant, and I say, you guys never care about my perspective.
Our systems keep the powerful empowered. Our systems keep powerful people empowered, and that ties people down. In the face of adversity, somebody taking away the tools of the things that you need is unacceptable. It's just wrong.
I used to be a very cheerful person. Sometimes events change your life. What happened to me last year, I had heart surgery at a very young age. Not too young. At the time I was transitioning from one job to another, I don't have any insurance. I've been thrown under the bus with $97,000 hospital bill, which is way beyond my capability and my financial situation. I've been trying to get in touch with the county. County, I said.
No, you have a job. You're in trouble. You're not qualified for Medicaid. That's the only place to get help.
I applied. I've been denied and rejected. The reason was clear. And I went back to the hospital. I said, hey, there is an amount of money you want. I don't have it. It is simple as that. There's a law. There's a county. There's a prison. Take me to the prison with my stings in my heart. Let's go.
I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer 2 years ago. I went to take my chemo at GW. They said, no, you gotta go to Virginia. Since you don't have insurance, we cannot take you.
2 weeks ago, I had a dental appointment. The dentist did a deep cleaning on me. He injected Novocaine 15 times all through my mouth. And then he put more numbing medicine on a swab all through my mouth. All of a sudden, I had muscle spasms. I started shaking in my chair and everything. And I went like this in the chair. I said, you gave me too much Novocaine. I went home and I took my blood pressure again. It was 230 over 220. I immediately called the ambulance and they said,
You just went to the hospital 2 weeks ago.
to hear from somebody who's a professional say that, they rushed me in and gave me an EKG. The EK indicates that I'm in the process of having a heart attack because of what the doctor did. I stayed in the hospital for 3 or 4 days, they said.
Oh, your heart is normal and you have no heart disease.
I could have told you that. I said to the dentist, you learned your lesson. And if a senior, such as I, come in, you give them half the amount. And that true story happened to me.
We go to the office assuming doctors are the experts. We trust them to treat us fairly.
I had a doctor that took me under, and he was looking for something. I woke up. I'm in the hospital, and he's sitting at the bottom of my bed, waiting for me to wake up. He said,
I accidentally punched a hole in the womb. We had a hard time bringing you back, you know, because you were losing too much blood.
you think you're gonna get paid?
I've been here 10 years in Virginia, and every time I have an incident, I go to Sibley Hospital. I say, look, be alive. Insurance. I get straight Medicaid. If there's an emergency, I dare not go to the other hospitals. And even if I was in D.C., my mother told me, don't never go to Providence Hospital. Don't ever go out there in Southeast. They have the #1 trauma center.
Trauma?
Yeah.
You mean they will treat you if you got gunshot wounds, but if you don't have a gunshot, you'll be sitting there all day.
I'm not a quiet person. One time, I got a cucumber and I sliced it with my finger. And my blood wouldn't stop because I was a diabetic. We put it in a bag with ice. And I went to the emergency room. And I started to scream. like this. So I went outside, and you know what I did? That's what I people I say to them, I am your captain!
You know what? Guys, how long have you, yeah, I'm telling you, you're the patience. You know what, guys, how long you have been sitting here? You're waiting for these lazy people working, getting paid. You're in pain, sitting there waiting for them to open a room. You're sitting there a couple of hours, no doctors, only one doctor for maybe 10 to 15 rooms.
They concentrating on me. So I'm waiting here and I'm holding my hand. I never give. They sent the security for me. And they start complaining you're not in pain. But I am in pain! Okay? These people are waiting here in the emergency room and they can't even sit down. I'm screaming, I will not be quiet!
Yes, I will never be quiet if I'm in pain.
The government has separated us, and they separated themselves. Republicans, Democrats, everything, and it's led to systemic racism. How can you unify? I've learned that everybody is not the same. I will never vote in America, period, because I will not conform to their BS.
Arlington Public Schools refuse to let me use my communication method at school. It's not the device that's the problem. It's the system. The Department of Justice got involved and opened an investigation because Arlington County was not letting the students use their communication method in the classroom. It was a case called the Arlington 5. It was 5 students, and I was bravely one of them.
When you're not speaking this game, not, or you're not thinking.
This was during the 2016 election and Trump won. The Civil Rights Division and the Department of Justice just got gutted. The Civil Rights Division is the crown jewel of the Department of Justice, some of the brightest attorneys in the country, and there wasn't anyone prioritizing the work. It was over and the ball got dropped. Then we had the pandemic.
I was about 14. We went through so many IEP meetings, and I was pleading with them, please let me use this because I can only express myself through this method. And then, so heartlessly, they would say no.
Ironically, now all students have iPads in the classroom. 2 of the other Arlington 5 and I dropped out of Arlington Public Schools. The county wouldn't give us access to age-appropriate curriculum, so we dropped out. It was ridiculous. I applied to another online high school who accepted my communication method. And after 2 years of righteous studying, I got my high school degree.
You go here.
I also went on to get my associate's degree at Nova.
There was this young girl, I will never forget her name, Angela. And she had a disability. My niece has Down syndrome, and I thought Angela was the same. She had Down syndrome too. The kids in my classroom at lunchtime would wait until she went out, and they would pull her hair, and they would be mean to her. As soon as she walked out the door, and she wasn't built to fight. Now me, I'm growing up in Northeast. I used to tell them, leave her alone. And every day now, I'm in elementary school, I'm being sent home for taking it up for Angela, right? And my mother used to stitch my behind, telling me, leave that girl alone, and I could never. I didn't care what my mama said. If they messed with Angela, they had to fight me. Then they just stopped messing with her.
I used to work at Goodwill, and I had a supervisor. I was doing a good job. In fact, great job. I had an evaluation, and they asked me if I had anything to share. I said, customers. The supervisor admitted customers were mean to him. One day, the supervisor was helping somebody else, and they put me on the floor. I was putting clothes on the rack, and customers came up and asked me questions, and I couldn't answer, right? Because I can't speak. Some customers were really nasty, and they said,
What's your problem? What are you doing here? If you were in my country, you'd be locked up.
that's what they said. There was one try for me to interrogate, to be part of everyone. Now I work in a warehouse. Now I don't interact with other people like working there.
I like to drive things. I interviewed for a job at City of Alexandria Maintenance. Part of the job was driving machinery. And the supervisor said, girls, go to the office. That did it. I said, no, I can drive. I can drive all kinds of things. I have my own motorcycle. Let me drive a piece of machinery on rainy days, and I'll do it. And he said, okay, fine.
You're a badass.
That was really beautiful. There was this really beautiful, tall, skinny black girl who worked there. The first day I said hi, and she said nothing. And it went on like that for days. She'd just ignore me. Turn and walk the other way. One day I said, do you not like me because I'm white? Or is there another reason? And she looked back and said, no, because you're white. But then I started treating her like I treat everybody else. So we got to be friends, and she needed help picking up her kids' toys for Christmas. We got all the stuff and took it to her house. We're wrapping presents, and it got dark, and it was basically time for me to go. This is in the projects in Alexandria, in Old Town. We walk outside, my car is covered with eggs. I mean, everywhere. I turned and looked at her, and I got it right away. Say absolutely nothing. People were all standing around when I got in my car. They were looking at me like, you know, whatever nasty word they could call me. I got in my car and tried to drive. I tried to roll down the window. You know, what the heck am I going to do? But I drove off, and it was very difficult to get home. But we did stay friends.
I have 3 children. I was pregnant with my 3rd child while working at this company, and it was my 2nd pregnancy under this vice president, who was Caucasian and a woman. She came to me and said, this is your last time, okay? In a joking way. Would she say that to a white person? She may have said that because I was vulnerable, but she didn't make me feel that way. The opposite, right. So what did I do? I didn't say anything. Sometimes it's just so shocking. It was 1997, being Asian. I didn't report to the human resources. Yeah, I stayed with the company.
I was from Vietnam. I came here in 1975 when I was 14 years old. We came from a really big family. 5 sisters, 3 brothers, and we were very, very close. We are still very close. It's the way that our parents raised us, to take care of your family. We've been here for almost 50 years. Saigon fell to the communists on April 30th, 1975. But we were able to leave a few days before, as my father was able to get seats for us on the U.S. helicopter. Some of my older brothers and sisters were already overseas at that time, so only 4 of us left Vietnam with my mother. My father stayed back so he could finish up some business, but he didn't realize Saigon would fall so soon. We flew by helicopter to Subic Bay in the Philippines, and from there we flew to Guam. Usually refugees would stay in Guam for only a week before moving on to the United States. My mother wanted us to stay for a few more weeks to wait to hear from my father. He was caught by the communists and was in prison for 7 years. My aunt was working in Washington, D.C. at the time and sponsored us. We didn't come to settle in Arlington until July of 1975. Clarendon was referred to as, you say it. Then, as so many Vietnamese refugees immigrated there, I had to quickly learn a new language. I really missed home that summer. Watching TV helped me learn my English. I started school at Kenmore Middle School, but it didn't go well, as the school wanted to place me a year behind, and the girls laughed at me during PE because I couldn't climb the rope. Girls are mean. I then applied to a French school in Bethesda and got admitted with a scholarship.
I'm second generation Irish, believe it or not. 100% Irish, which is wonderful because I can't go in the sun. I'm white, very white. When my grandparents came here, the Irish were not liked, not at all. They put signs on the windows that said, no need to even apply. My mom experienced a lot of death. Her dad died, her brother died, and then her mother had to be put into an orphanage. The last time she remembered seeing her mom, she was about 5 years old.
I am an immigrant from Afghanistan. 10 years ago, I came to the United States, and every refugee, every immigrant who comes to this country comes with the same stories. Fear, persecution, poverty, lack of access to resources, or conflict in their countries. I faced a very huge cultural shock. And in my country, I used to work in the U.S. Embassy for a long time as a cultural advisor. I used to make nice American friends there. That's why I got threatened. That's why I got a special immigrant visa to move to the United States. I fear for myself and my children. When I came here, I had no language barrier. I knew English. I was familiar with the work culture as well, but I still had to work in an airport, in the kitchen, doing dishes. Although it's not a bad thing to do that, you are making some money for your family, to pay rent, to pay your bills. You have to do something. I wanted to get benefits from the government so bad, and I had to quit my career. I had to leave my job, but I had worked long for my career, and I'm not going to end it like this.
It's a little country called Cyprus. I lived in a little village that was mountains and the sea. I was about 7. I should be so happy, but it was wartime. The Turkish and the Greek War in 1975. And my grandfather died because he was carrying guns from the seas. My grandmother was 25 when she lost her husband. She raised 4 kids on her own. They made my mother get married so men could come into the house. My mother was 15 when she had her first child, my brother. And then the second year I came along, and then another boy came, and she said, I cannot take care of these kids. I have to go to work in the city so I can send money to Grandma to raise them. My grandmother was working in the kitchen. They were cooking for the army. It was wartime, so every young man was in the mountains. And I remember in elementary school, I had to take care of my siblings. One day, and I'll never forget this, a couple of women, neighbors, were walking and looking at my clothes. They should be cleaner. Oh, come on. I'm 7. I'm doing this laundry. You should say, oh my God, she's taking care of 2 kids. She's cooking, cleaning, doing the laundry, and going to school too. And she's getting beaten up if she doesn't do all that. No father, no mother, an abusive grandmother. My mother came back in the middle of the war with her boyfriend and a little 1-year-old baby. Oh, my baby got sick. I have to go to the city. You know how I was running after her. Don't leave us. Don't leave us. It hurt. It really hurt. I'm just a little girl trying to survive. But I am a survivor. When I was 15, I ran away because there was an arranged marriage. I had to go into an orphanage. It was a hard life, really hard. I wish I knew that everybody makes mistakes so that I can talk to my kids every time they make mistakes. I couldn't tell them, you will learn. Everybody can make mistakes. No, you had to be perfect because you had a mother. That's what I was thinking. But when my kid says something, I say, stop there. I was with you the whole time. And after your father died, I stayed here because I didn't want to take you back to Cyprus. So you could get educated here. So you could have your own lives instead of going back there. I send them to college. My God, so I stay here. I suffer here. You know, I did everything I could.
America is a huge mixing bowl. We all have different heritages and cultures, but sometimes we have systemic bias towards those cultures.
Back in the summer of 2016, I had to go to court because I had to get my guardianship rearranged so that my stepmom would be my guardian. When we got into the courtroom, the first case was this woman asking for guardianship for her son who was in his 30s. They were talking and the judge had some sort of high status level talking to the mother and her son. And the son tried to say something, but then the judge boomed back, "Do not speak unless you are spoken to." When I came up to the judge was lower status this time in terms of speaking, and I couldn't even look at the judge. I couldn't help but feel insanely bad for the family before. That son and his mother were a different race than me. The judge had bias. He was nasty. They treated my family better because we were white. I did not like that judge in the least. This was here in Arlington.
What is my culture? You know you have culture. You can see the language, you can speak the language. Our language was taken from us. My parents, on my mom's side, her grandmother was a full Apache Indian, and her grandfather was a Caucasian Irishman. Right? I'm looking at my shape. I don't have no butt, but you know, most Afro-American, whatever we call the African culture, we were given boobs and butt, right?
My grandmother had 17 children. Yours too? My mom would say, my grandma kept the dress on. I didn't know till I got older, and they were saying she had a lot of kids. 21, but they only counted 17.
I say my country. She says it's America. It's everybody's country. No, it's not. It's not ours. I don't feel like it's ours. African American racism has gotten worse. I keep hearing my father saying, I never worked for a white man, but I respect you if you respect me, no matter who you are.
Today on the news, there it was, systemic racism, implicit bias. Today in Bowie, a man of color was walking on the shoulder of the road. The man walked by an officer who was white, and the officer said, "What are you doing here?" And before the man could answer, he shot him. In this case, he lived, but this reminds me of my son. My son is not able to drive. He has an intellectual disability and auditory processing delay. So he walks the majority of the places. Next time, will it be my son?
I want you to be open eye to the thing, but very much more than going together about history, but not the way it has to be.
We are resilient. We have joy. We have hope. We have community.
What gives me hope is that I have nieces and nephews that are fierce and strong and smart. These are people who will step in and take power in the world for good, and that gives me joy. My brothers bring me joy as well.
When I get up in the morning, I put on rock and I sing. I do every morning, and I love it. I listen to Stevie Nicks and, Miley Cyrus. Yeah, it brings me hope. It does, because I sing out the window. It's nice and sunny, and I see trees. It's kind of like when I lived in upstate New York, especially this time of year. If you go flying and you just see, it looks like a carpet below. I don't know, because it's all different colors.
I grew up loving Christmas. How we celebrate in Latin America is totally different from the US. We never have any Santa Claus here. We never have, capitalism and buying things and expensive things that give you a way to make you happy. In Honduras, something that will make you happy is, let's say, to cook or share tamales for your neighbors. Poor people, really poor people, heartbroken single mothers, all cooking.
On Tuesday morning, I drove some of our neighbors to the polls, and I can't believe how much hope I felt 48 hours ago. To be with people that all felt the same way. We were all together and believing in something as important as in our country's leadership and democracy. Having the feeling that anything was possible. That was an amazing feeling. Everyone was like, we can do this together. And that's why I feel so lucky that my daughter lives here.
So, we are a team who dare to dream, and we all have hope. Han, Hong, Alam, and Sevian stood up and they spoke. Omi, T, Rose, and Margot, full of hope, face adversaries or adversities. The Fighting Mo, Beth, Lisa, and Donna accepted challenges like Hercules. So me, Don, Marsha, and Ashley, the last mentioned in this crew, we do the best we can and support you, our fam, as our hope bring us out of the blue.
There's much more that brings us together than divides us. This is our history, but it's not the way it has to be.
listening to one another and coming together.
We are moved as a community to take bold action so that we can improve.
We want our community to know we are all together.
And above all else,
We
have hope!
All right, wow. See what I mean? Can you believe that? Well done. She made me cry.
We all feel the middle one there. We weren't acting, but she was recording. We didn't even know. We were just talking, sharing stories. I will be continuous because it's easy to get out of the fun. You know, that four holes. See other people and share stories, and it feels good. It feels good.
Feels
Makes
good.
you feel it.
Thank you. All right. You can feel the love, right? We're as touched. I know Mo, Don, Mario, we're all as touched by being here and participating with you all. So thank you for those kind words. It's special. It was needed, right? Like, I didn't know I needed it too. I think we all did. So I hope that you enjoyed tonight and went on this journey with us. We would love to chat with you afterwards if you have questions or want to talk about other programming. But thank you so much for coming tonight and for seeing Devising Hope.